So this is my last morning on this expedition. Working, this is an area further down the coast, Keaton Beach. It looks like the fish are probably out beyond 6 feet. I've been catching, yesterday I was here, I caught a few in the 4 to 6 foot range, but really beyond 6 is where I caught most of the trout. But I'm gonna try to get out, especially this morning, first thing in the morning, try to get out toward 9 feet. If you don't know this area, you know, that could be 4 or 5 miles off the coast. I'm not exactly sure how far it will be, but it's a long way. Okay, second fish is a bass, a little rock bass. The first one was a ladyfish. And this wind's already rocking. Look at that. Man, that thing is destroyed. I just put this is a brand new one. Use a matrix shad this time. This is a nice, I like this color, pink and sort of cream. See if it holds up any better. I can't be going through baits that fast. I think I may have caught my first trout. I've been catching ladyfish. Yes, this is a small trout. I've been catching ladyfish. It was rock bass. And that was the first trout. Probably about, not a legal size, probably about a 14. Great news. Yesterday I started fishing the Berkeley Cutter 90 jerkbait in a mullet pattern, and it was very effective. I was fishing it even at like 8 foot, 7 foot depth, and right now I'm getting constant action on it. This is good. I came back, I was out at the 9 to 10 foot depth. There wasn't much activity out there. I moved back, now I'm 5.5 and drifting out. Well, that's definitely the smallest of the rock bass I've caught today. That is a cute little specimen. That's about bait there. It's even hooked like a good way. I could just throw that out there, let that swim around. Okay, got another trout. That's probably a 15 there. Yesterday, a trout doing that right there stuck me really good. Treble right through my finger. I had to push it through, take it off, and cut the barb off, pull it back out. Today I'm being extra careful. I have been being careful, but I needed to get my boga grip out, which is just a better way to handle the fish than even those plastic. Yeah, that's almost a 16. This jerkbait caught that trout, and that's what I noticed yesterday, that this jerkbait seemed to be pretty effective. I was kind of a volunteer trout there. I wasn't moving the jig, I just threw it out. So it may tell me something about how the trout want the jig, just really slow, which is hard to do in this wind, because the boat's moving so fast. What do I got? What do I got? Oh, it's a bass. Switched over to a jig. Let's try something different. I'm on one of this sleigh ride drift. If I don't put the trolling motor in and I stand in the bow, I will drift. It will push me straight, so it's a very comfortable way to fish because I'm not rocking and rolling, but it's fast. It's a little bit, I think it's difficult for the jig fishing. The jerk bait, it's perfect because you can just rip it throw it out 45 degrees each way, on each side, and rip it back. The jig though, I just prefer to fish jigs a little slower, and it's hard to do that. This is the constant activity. They're banging on this jig. When you're in the area with, it seems like, it would seem that would be more productive. There's a lot of smaller fish, so you'd think that the fish I'm after would also hang out here. A lot of pinfish, a lot of these rock fish, but they're just constantly chewing on your jig. This matrix shad's holding up well, better than some of the others I tried. And once in a while, you hook one of these little ones. This is probably a bass. Yep, this is a bass, kind of a little chunky little guy. Oh, there he goes. Not sure what I got here. It's a little bit bigger fish. Oh, it's a big bass. Wow. Probably the biggest one I've caught. Look at that. Wow. Woo. That is a chunky one. Nice. Man, they put up in a fight when they get a little bit bigger. Look at that. Nice fish. There's another one. Probably this is probably another rock bass. Another nice one. Whoa, check that out. Let's run into some nicer sized bass. It's a repeat of the last one. This is the real typical situation, even on the hard baits, especially this heavy dean, which I can fish along the bottom. There's just a ton of pinfish. I sight fished 2 trout. I saw 2 trout down there, and I cast out there, immediately got a hit. Those were big fish. Unfortunately, it came unbuttoned. Oh man. There you go. 16-inch trout. Look what I caught it on. 4 Horsemen popping cork. You know, it's a good strategy for right now, because it's very windy and rough, and the popping cork can deal with those conditions. I think I just hammered a nice trout. Oh, it is. Holy smokes, I'd given up on the trout because it got so rough farther out. I came inside by some oyster bars, and I have maybe the biggest trout of the day. That is unbelievable. I'm probably gonna net this one. I want to see this one in the boat. No, he's not that big. Not that big, but not small. Certainly a legal sized fish. Wow, so happy to see this fish. Because I can fish here. Oh yes. And that is a 16-inch trout off an oyster bar. So happy to see this fish, because I had kind of given up on the trout. I just hadn't found them in numbers anywhere much today. Real scattered across the deeper flats. Here I am by an oyster bar, a couple casts with a jig, I've got a trout. Moving on. Yeah, it was like a loner trout around that oyster bed. oyster bar. It's a lot of loner trout the last couple days. Just can't string more than one together at a time. It seems like the trout are not that densely populating this area this week, or they're not feeding well, one or the other. But I've thrown all the different types of artificial baits that I would throw, and I catch a trout on one, catch on another. I caught it on a variety of artificial baits this week. But again, the trout do not seem to be stacked up. I mean, on that oyster bar, if I caught one trout there, I'd expect to at least pick up another 4 or 5 of them. Feels like a bigger fish. Now it doesn't feel like a bigger fish, but I think it might be a trout. It is a trout. Holy cow. It's a nice trout too. Whoa, yes. Oh, look at that. That's a 16-inch trout. Beautiful trout. On a jig. So I came out to 8 feet, and that's the biggest trout I've seen in hours. Not sure what I got here. Might be a trout. Yes. This is a nice trout. Ooh. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is a nice trout. He's nice enough that I'm gonna net him. Oh, sweet. Sweetness. Yes. We have got us a 20-inch trout. So it's paying off coming out here to like 4 miles off into, I'm at like 8-foot depth, 20-inch trout. There she is. I'm well over my limit now, my Florida limit of 5. I'm gonna release that one and enter it into the release over 20 program. Okay, we got a fish coming up. It's like a big, oh, this may be some kind of, oh, it's a big bass. Wow. Whoa, that is nice. Whew. That is a sizable bass. Wow. Beautiful. Look at that. I switched over to the heavy Dean, the 18 MR Miradine, and I've had good luck a couple days ago in the deeper water with this lure, just letting it sink down about an 8 count, and then work it back, jerk, stop, pause, jerk, and that produced that 20-incher and several other nice trout. Okay, I may have another trout. I just switched from the 18 MR back to the jig, and I've got a nice trout. Yes. Oh, that's a beautiful trout. Okay, there's a nice 17-inch trout on that jig. My last matrix shad of that pink and cream. Real nice to get another trout. That makes number 8 keepers for me. Okay, what'll this one be? Could this be another trout? Could be. It could be another trout. It is. It is another trout. Whoop. Well, that one went back in. I've set into a nice fish here. This should be a trout. Hopefully this is a really nice trout. Okay. That's cool. It's a big flounder though. Caught a flounder earlier up in a riverbank, but that's pretty cool. There's the flounder, 17.5-inch flounder. Pretty fish. I made a change. So I was really noticing that when so I caught 2 trout in a row, and I had some other bites that seemed more than bass and pinfish. So, but what always happened before is when I would stop, then the bites would dry up. It all felt wrong. And so what I'm going on now is the theory that my 3/16, and I'm in about 9 foot of water, my 3/16 is perfect when I'm drifting fast. And this wind is pretty rough today, this afternoon. But when I stop, the waves push the line up, pulls the bait up, and I can't get it down to the bottom, so all the bites dry up. So what I did was put a 3/8 ounce on one of these death grips, and this is Zeman plastic, and that immediately got me some bites, and now a flounder. So I think I may have solved one problem there. Well, that wraps up my week of 5 days of fishing on the Nature Coast of Florida. Had a good time. Mostly I learned a lot about this area and fishing flats like this, these grass flats. It's pretty cool. I caught some cool fish. A couple, 220 or over trout. And of course that cobia, which is amazing. Anyway, thanks for watching this last episode of my week-long excursion. Hope you gained something from it, and I'll see you in my next video.